Hello, everyone. Welcome to Module 16. This training is going to show you how to use some of our external inventory sources and how to qualify leads and actually pull leads into the FreedomSoft system from some of our external um, sources for real estate and inventory that we're looking for. Particularly today, we're going to be working with the HUD Home Store, Homesteps, which is Freddie Mac, and Homepath, which is Fannie Mae. So I'm going to, I put all the tabs up on the top here. We've got FreedomSoft. Here's the HUD Home Store. Here is Homesteps, which is Freddie Mac, and here is Fannie Mae Homepath site. Most of our more lucrative deals, I would say, have come off of one of these sites, one of these three at least. Um, a lot of this training is going to coincide and be in conjunction with the training that you already learned in Module 14 and Module 15. So this is going to tie into that. It's not going to necessarily replace any of the training on how to qualify, comp, and make an offer. This is just going to show you how to qualify, comp, and make an offer, but from these sources for our leads instead of the instant leads, which is what you've learned how to work out of or off of out of module 14. So I'm going to go right into it. A lot of the training is going to be, you're going to find that it's probably very familiar based on, what you already know about how we import leads in and how we qualify them. So this training, I will not be going into actually how to qualify. I'm just going to show you how to pull leads in, how to search for them, and how to save pictures so that you can create your file in FreedomSoft correctly. Okay, so I open up FreedomSoft dashboard first because this is generally the screen that you're going to be working out of in FreedomSoft. You're generally going to be working with the Run Comps tab right here. And as this process develops, I'm going to show you how all this works. So you want to start out in FreedomSoft. You want to be in your dashboard, and we're going to be using this tab right here, Run Comps. So let's start out first with the HUD Home Store website. If you type in www.hudhomestore.com, you do not need to type in all of this stuff, and you just press enter. It will open up this screen. This is your main login screen or your main home screen that we're going to start all of our searches from when dealing with HUD properties. Even though there is a login up here, you do not need to log in. The other sites you will need to log in, but this one you do not. So how we start out is this. We're going to always start with the state. So you're only ever going to be working right now between Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So let's start out in Pennsylvania. You're going to go down, you're going to scroll and find PA for Pennsylvania. NJ is short for New Jersey, so PA. County, as instructed before, you're going to be working with the same main counties in Pennsylvania that we work with. That's between Philadelphia County, Bucks, Delaware, Montgomery, Berks. Those are the main 5 counties we work with in Pennsylvania. In New Jersey, we are going to be working with Camden County, Burlington, Middlesex, Salem, Atlantic, Gloucester, mainly those counties. There might be another one or so that I may have forgotten, but how this works is this. When you choose your state, all you have to do is start typing in the first couple of letters in county, and then Montgomery, let's say, in this case, will show up. You simply highlight it. Under buyer type, you're going to always choose investor. If you choose anything other than investor, we will not get accurate search results for what we are allowed to do. And then you just want to come over here and click search. What that means is every single property that is available for an investor to purchase, like us, will show up. Sometimes there will be multiple pages. In this case, there are only 10 listings found, so they can squeeze them all on one page. What you're going to do now is you're pretty much going to go down this list and you're going to look for leads out of this list. And how I do it is really simple. I'm going to skip over this one for a second because if you recall, 340 Limekiln Pike in Glenside, you actually qualified this lead before. Actually, we actually had an offer even accepted on this lead. After me and the contractor went out there, we determined that at the price we got that bid accepted, it's not profitable. So what my play on this is to simply wait until this drops or to offer a lower price in hopes that we can get that one accepted. I'm going to go straight with this one under here, oh, right here, the one on the bottom, 59 Pennypacker Drive. Now, you notice over here, there's a number. These are the case number. FHA calls it a case number. Each of the, or excuse me, HUD calls this a case number. You're familiar probably by now with a case number because you worked with some HUD homes before with me. Also, the other number would be an MLS number, or you would have a property ID number, which you're going to see when I show you Homesteps and Homepath. So let's just click on the HUD case number right here. It's going to bring open the property. What I would do first is this. First, you're going to take the actual address and you're going to highlight it. The reason why I highlight it, well, actually, before you do that, why don't we do this? Let's since we're in here, we're going to make an offer on this property. We're just going to simply click on a picture. I like to start out by saving the pictures because this way you don't have to go back and do this. You're going to start by pressing Save Image As. You right click on it, Save Image As. A little box comes up. You're going to be saving these pictures the same way you're used to saving pictures in the Dropbox. So you would go down and hit Gateway Wholesaling. You're going to go down and find REO MLS Offers. You're familiar with this folder by now. Going to come up to Freedom Soft Bids, and you're going to create a new folder and name it whatever this property address is. So in this case, the property address, let me get out of here. Let me close that box. Okay, so it's 59 Pennypacker Drive. So you're going to come in here, click on this, Save Image As. This will open. You're going to go into Freedom Soft Bids. You're going to create a new folder. You're going to call it 59 Pennypacker. And here's where you are going to, let's see, 59, where'd it go? It's somewhere here. Here we go. Up at the top, 59 Pennypacker. You're going to click on it. You're going to create another folder and call this one Photos. All these processes, again, you should be used to doing these by now. But once you click on Photos and open it, you don't have to rename this. Just simply press Save. And then go to the next picture. You're going to do the same thing. Save Image As. You're just going to click Save. Go to the next picture. And you're going to do this until you have collected all the pictures in here for each one. I would say you really don't have to grab. You want to make sure you're grabbing the main pictures. Sometimes you'll find that there might be 25 or 20 or 25 pictures. You do not need to grab all of them. You only need to grab maybe the top. In this case, there's only 6 of them, as you can see here. Sometimes there might be 15 or 20, maybe 12 or 15 pictures. As long as you're getting an overall a snapshot of how the property looks inside and out. As long as those pictures are available, you want to grab those. So sometimes I don't need a picture of every single bedroom. Again, I just want to get a main feel for what this property is like. So I'm just saving these. There's not that many pictures here, so I'm just going to save all 6. It is important to see the exterior, front and back, if they're available. Okay, looks like we've seen them all. So now that you've saved the pictures in Dropbox, now what you want to do is you want to highlight the address. I'm going to highlight it and press Control C to copy. You're going to come back over, and now that you've Control C the address, you're going to simply come over here. You can see that it's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 1,200 square feet, single family home. Here's the list price, $122,000. Insured escrow. This generally means if it's yes as insured escrow, this generally means that the house is not in that bad of a shape. According to HUD, it needs at least $15,000 or less in work. That's not always the case, but that's a good guideline. If it's insurable, they have limits on the amount they'll insure it up to. So the repair amount cannot go over a certain amount. So in this case, it's generally good. If you see this says no, don't worry about it. You still want to try to qualify it anyway. But once you've highlighted this address and pressed Control C, you're going to go into Freedom Soft, and this is really simple. You're in the dashboard. You're going to come over here and press Run Comps. I simply click in the address bar and I press Control V to paste it. Now, This address is in here. It's pretty long, okay? So you're going to notice if I scroll over to the front, you'll see 59 Pennypacker Drive. I'm going to take, they didn't spell drive all the way. I'm going to take that out and I'm going to take the city and Control X. That cuts it, and I'll Control V again to paste it here. I'll do the zip code, highlight it, and Control X, and then I will Control V here. As far as Pennsylvania, I'll highlight it all the way up to the abbreviation for the word drive. Just delete that out, and then I'll choose P for PA from Pennsylvania. And then I'm going to run comps, hit the run comps button. Now this pops up. Now how it's going to work is I think you showed me, or it was pointed out to me that if you simply click on these right here, click on the names of the street over here under address, this little box will pop up and show you where it's located. So we want to see where Game Farm Road was, or this one. We just simply hover the mouse over the address and just click on it, and this pops up. This is a really useful tool. If you wanted to see that, make sure you're comparing the right type of houses as you learned in modules 14 and 15. You can always hit Street View here if it's available. In this case, it's not available. Let's see if there's another one that's available. That one isn't available. Let's see. Let's see if this one's maybe available. So we've got a Street View available here. Okay, these are townhouses. I actually know where this is the neighborhood that my children live in with their mother. Um, Nice area, family neighborhood. So what you're going to do is you're going to comp this property out. You can see that the information when you pulled it in to run the comps has come over the same way as when you pull it in Instant Leads. You're going to see 3 bedroom, 2 bath. You're going to see the square foot here. You're going to comp this out exactly the same way that you normally do, keeping it around a similar square footage, 3 bedroom, 2 baths. So here's what you're going to do. Let's go down the list and start figuring this out. So this one's got a sale price of 136. Yeah, let's pull this one in. This one's 1,200 square feet, 133. Another one at 1,200 square feet. We could probably, um, let's see if there's another one, 1,200 square feet. Let's solve for 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,200 square feet. Okay, we're going to go for the next best. We're going to do this one right here. So we got a comp, a rough estimate of about 138 for the property that we're looking to do, okay, to renovate. Now, what I want you to do at this point is real simple. So now that you know what the property, the estimate is roughly, okay, you want to go back and you're going to double check you don't want to leave this screen just yet, but you're going to come back and double check now. They were asking 122 for this property. Now, if you pull open your trusty spreadsheet, this one, you would simply come in here, put 122,000, which is what they're asking. You want to keep 80% in here as normal, and you want to take a look at this at now the bid price. So now the bid price is 97,600 is what it's suggesting. Again, you want to put the address in here, 59, I think it was Pennypack, and then you're going to put Schwenksville. Okay, I'm just going to bring this over to the other screen. So 97,600 was the number. What you'd want to do is I can tell just based on the comps here alone. Now, there are some higher comps in this mix. These are closer though. Let me see what some of the ones that are right around. See, the comps that are higher look like they're a little bit further away. This one is bigger, 1,904 square feet. So what that's telling you about this is that this property probably it will not be investable for us. Reason being is we have a bid price of 97,600, but we look at the estimated price over here, and I'm just using math. I don't want you to assume, but what I want you to do is this. Once you get to this point, if it's not really obvious, okay, that this deal has no equity, you're going to save property. This is the next step. So first step was we found it in the site. We saved the pictures. We highlighted the address. We brought that address over here and ran a comp on it. Now that we run the comps here, I'm actually going to click. If you notice here, you cannot save to attachment yet. That functionality is not available because we don't have this in our queue as a lead. So the next step is now you're going to save this property. Now, if you notice, before I click this, I want to point something out. You notice in FreedomSoft we have properties and we have leads. Ultimately, this is just a lead, but there's only one way to pull it into the lead queue, and that's by saving it as a property first. So once you click this blue button, here's what happens. Now this blue button turns to Edit Property Details. Now you want to click Edit Property Details. So you're going to go right into it. It's going to open up the lead or the property details sheet. Notice the tab. It's still under property. We need it to be under leads though, because we work all of our prospects as leads first. So what you're going to do is to switch this into a lead. Now that you've hit Edit Details and you've come to this screen, you're simply going to hover over where these three buttons are, click on it, and then come down here to where it says Convert to Lead. You're going to click that. Now you notice that the green heading switched from properties over to leads. Now this is where we're going to start working on it. Now, before you change the status or anything like that, we are actually going to try to qualify this deal. So you're going to go forward and start qualifying this exactly the same way and inputting it the same exact way that you have on all of your other leads. So in this case, it would be Schwenks. Okay, here we go, Schwenksville. Deal type, well, if this one is from HUD, well, let's see, you're going to write REO because all of these are going to be an REO, real estate owned. Any of the ones that we deal with HUD, Homesteps, or Fannie Mae or Homepath are all going to be REO for deal type. The source, however, is going to be where you're going to tell us where you got it from. So in this case, it's going to be HUD Home Store. The status date, you're going to pick today. Today is the 8th for me. The whole goal is you can status this after you know if you have a deal or not. You don't know if this is going to be dead or not yet. But then you're going to go through this whole process and you're going to run the Rehab Estimator, the Deal Analyzer. You're going to pull all those attachments in the same way you always do on all of your other leads that you qualify for the purpose of comping it out. You're also going to pull in the number here, 97.6 that we determined at our 80% number. You're going to fill all that in the lead sheet down here. 97,600. I'm actually going to work this one all the way through just to see if this is a potential lead, just to show you how this looks. So let's see here. Is it listed? I'm going to put yes because it is. You always want to put this. If you do not click yes, some of these options down here will not be available. Like for instance, you will not be able to put list price in or agent name, etc. So when you click yes, is it listed? It opens up this portion down here for list price. They're listing it for 122,000. So now we know we've taken 80% of 22,000 to give us 96,700. You can come up here and press save if you'd like at this point. We forgot to put sales price in here. We want to add about 10,000 onto that. So 97,600 plus 10,000 equals 107,600. Now you're going to save it and you're going to watch to make sure this number calculates correctly. We should have 10,000. Yes, that's correct. As far as the notes are concerned, there are no notes when you pull them in this way. You can come here to see if there are any notes. Sometimes if you notice on HUD, these HUD Home Store ones generally will not have notes. But on Homepath and Fannie or Homesteps, there will be notes. And what you would do is you would simply highlight all the notes. If let's say these were the notes, you would highlight them, press Control C, and then you would simply come over here and press Control V and paste them in here. Down here where it's add a contact, you are going to add the realtor that you're working with. And in this case, if this is in Pennsylvania, you're going to put Tony Brown, that's him. You're going to press a check mark here. Down here, the bedrooms and bathrooms do not import. So you want to import this information. And again, if you need to go back to your tab, you're going to see that it's got 3-bedroom, 1.1 bath. That means 1.5 baths. It does not tell if there's a garage. So I will leave the garage blank. And it tells the square footage, 1,200. So let's do 3 bedroom, 1.5 bath, and 1,200 square feet. You put it down here again, total square feet 1,200, so it imports over when you're doing your other information. The roof, you can write no work needed, current condition. We can just put livable needs work, and then you can save your lead. I always like to save everything as I go along. Now, the Rehab Estimator, this is just going to be a refresher. We're going to go start a new estimate. We're going to call this one, I think it was 59 penny pack. And you can call this a repair estimate. And then you're just going to go down the list. So this one is a 2-story. Total square foot, 1,200. Finished square foot, 1,200. 3 bed, 1.5 bath, no car garage. We've got all this in here already total. We've got it as a total beater. We're going to put livable needs work. I think I may have chosen the wrong one on the last one. 1,200 square foot, 3 beds, 1.5 bath, 0 or no car garage. We're going to finish quality as average, Pennsylvania, and then we're going to pick Philadelphia because it's the closest city, and then we're going to create the estimate. 32,000 is our number here. So now that we've got this, I'm simply going to save the attachment. Okay, now when we go into the attachments, you'll see it right here. Now, generally what I like to do is I like to go down in order. So if you notice, we started here in lead details. What I actually should have done rather than going straight to the Rehab Estimator is I should have actually imported your photos. So just let's click on the Photos tab. You're going to bring photos in. I'm going to find them in my Dropbox under REO offers, Freedom Soft. We're going to go down to 59 penny packer. You're going to go into photos and you are going to highlight the first one. If you hold the shift button down and click on the last one, all of them will highlight. Then you just click open. Okay, all of them will upload. When they're done, they come right into your photos section. So now you've got photos filled, you've got your first attachment made up by going into your Rehab Estimator. Next, we are going to go into the deal analyzer. Or no, I'm sorry, duh. We're going to go into comps. After all, this we did look at comps earlier, but we have not pulled them in yet. It will not allow you to save it until it's actually a lead. So this is going to be a little redundancy here. You're going to do this portion twice. What I like to do again is click around the property and see what's what. I'm gonna we found earlier that this comp was going to be good. This one was going to be good. Oh, it keeps clicking. I'm just going to go down here and do it. We have 3 bedroom, 1.5 bath. We're going to select the 1,200 square feet. We're going to select this one. We're going to select this one, and we're going to do this one too. I don't recall if these are the same ones we picked earlier, but it's around 127,000. Okay, because it's look the same square footage, 3 bedroom, 1 bath. They're all within the same neighborhood. This is a pretty fair idea of what the property's worth. Now what you're going to do is you're going to save this to your attachments. Same way that you've learned before. We're going to go back to return to lead details, and we are going to use the 127,000 value. I'm going to open this report too, just so I can have it up here in my taskbar. But we're going to use 127,600 in our deal analyzer. So now let's go and create our deal analyzer. Let's say purchase date would be at the end of June. Let's just pick, or you can just do in 2 weeks. It doesn't really matter. Today is the 8th. 2 weeks from now would be the 22nd. Purchase price, I think we had 107,600. Fix up cost, we had, I believe it was 32,000. And forgive me for rounding these off. Again, you would be putting exact numbers in here. Closing costs, I'm going to put about 2,000. Property taxes, let's put about 2,000. Insurance, 500. And again, I'm going to choose first loan or financed for all of these. You want to make sure you put this stuff in here. Also, make sure you always select first loan or financed. You're going to scroll down miscellaneous closing costs, $50, and then other 10. And you're going to push first loan, and first loan. Okay, offset we're leaving as blank. Down payment we'll do 10%. Interest rate we'll do 14. Deferred payment, deferred to sale. Points we're going to do 0. Second loan, nothing gets filled out here. Estimated sale date, so we're going to say we're going to hold this property for 3 months from the 22nd. So June, we've got July, August, September, and we're going to go back to the 22nd. So that's a 3-month carry. After repair, we're saying the value is 127,600. Agent commission, let's put 4%. Closing costs, let's just put 1,500. No seller concession, and let's run the deal analyzer. Okay, net profit minus 26,000. So this deal is not a deal. And if we just look at the number again, we're just going to say, okay, so we're comparing it to a value of this. We have a purchase price at 107. We've got a fix-up cost of 32,000. When all is said and done, there is no money in this deal at all. When all is said and done with carrying this thing and doing financing charges, we'd actually have to pay in order to get this deal. So, um, you don't really have to, save this analysis because it's a dead deal. Um, what I would do at this point, once you've acknowledged that it's a dead deal, we're going to go and status it that way. But just keep this in mind: if it is a viable deal, you're simply going to name the analysis. This would be called 59 penny packer, fix and flip, and then you would save the analysis and upload it and save it to the attachments. In this case, this is not a deal. So these are the steps you're going to take to qualify exactly the same steps you've always taken. In this case, now that it is a dead deal, we can status it as this. We can go to dead. We can cut, or excuse me, copy the date. I'll put the date down here, paste it. I'll say Gabe, dead deal, no net profit. Okay. Now, the only way that, just so that you know, you don't have to do this, but I'm just going to give you an idea. The only way to really, like, when I need to make a deal happen, let's say that I have to pull something out of the thin air and I'm just going to throw something against the wall to see how curious or how anxious the seller is to sell the property. What I would start to do is I'd start to come over here now in this spreadsheet and I'd play with this number, this 80%. Like for instance, I'd come down and I'd say, well, what happens if I offered him 60%? And then I would look at it like this. I'd say, okay, well, 60% would mean I could get the price at 73,000. And if I had 10,000 on it, that's 83,000. And then that would change these numbers right here. Um, So, that's how I would play with it to see if there's any equity in the deal. Even if I did change, the deal analyzer to 83,200, um, I'm not going to go back in here and do it, but 83,200, if I take a calculator and do 83,200 minus 107,600, that's a $24,000 difference. If I simply, and we were at a minus $26,000, net profit, so it still would be a minus net profit. So you can just kind of play with the numbers a little bit, but this is how exactly I want you to work on pulling these deals over. Now that we have analyzed everything here, we've saved everything, you are simply going to choose the color as black. You are going to choose your folder. And again, it is not in a folder yet, so you're going to select dead. If, of course, this was a deal, you would not choose dead, you would put it in Gabe PM deals, and then you're simply going to apply changes, save lead, and now you're going to go out. What you'll notice is now you'll have one lead in your inbox. I know you're already up to speed on doing this as well from your other training modules, but what you would do when all is said and done and you're done for the day, there may be, I don't know, 5 or 10 in your inbox. You simply click on that inbox, you put a check mark next to the appropriate ones, and you simply status it. So in this case, I would move it and move it to the actual, let me come back up here, move to dead duplicate leads, and then it sends it right away. So that's how you would do HUD Home Store leads. Now the other tools are very similar. I'm going to close this comp out up here. We already looked at how to do a HUD bid or how to pull a HUD home over. We're going to do the same thing with Homesteps now and then Homepath. Very simple, similar process. We're going to simply go to the homesteps.com website. I encourage you to, when you go to these websites, please save all three of them into your favorites in your internet browser so you can refer back to them. When you come to Homesteps, it's going to ask you to sign in. You simply click the sign in button. You're going to use my username and passcodes. Incidentally, it's the same password that you use for your logins. So I'm not going to say it out loud now, just in case it's changed. All this will always be the same password as your logins. You're simply going to press sign in. And now you know you're in. Then you're going to simply go to the word home. Now, how this site works is very interesting. It lets you search for several different criteria. You can either put the actual address in of what you're looking for, a zip code. You can put a city in, a state. What I like to do, though, is I like to search by county. So, for instance, we've been talking about Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. So I would simply click in here and write Montgomery County, and you'll see a bunch start to show up. Here's Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. You simply click on it and press search. Now, here's what I need to show you about these search results. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, in other words, Homesteps and Homepath, all have something called a first look system. Here it says it like this. It says first look. See that right there? It says it right here, first look. But underneath of it, on these other ones on the bottom, it does not say first look. You always want to make sure that and there's a search result, by the way, of only nine. Nine of them showed up here, nine listings. You do not want to look at anything that says first look. The reason why is these are only available for an owner-occupant person to purchase these. That means that first look period does not allow investors to buy. Um, these first look properties, once they have been on these sites for at least 20 days, and if they have not been purchased by a homeowner, they will flip them over and allow an investor to purchase them. And that's what we're bidding on, is the ones that do not say first look. So in this example, I would go down to the next one. Um, right here, we've got 26 Glenwood Avenue in Norristown. I'm simply going to click on it here. It's going to show the amount of bedrooms, bathrooms, the square feet. It's going to show is it active or pending. You only want to work on things that are active. If it says pending or not active or anything other than active, you do not want to work on it. You just want to skip right over it. And actually, let me take a look. Let me go back to the search results and see if I can find one. So it looks like the way Homesteps has their setup is they're only showing you active ones. Homepath is a little different. They will show you ones that are not active as well, or might currently be under contract. So I want to make sure that you know to look out for ones, that it says status as active. You're going to start by doing the same thing here that you did with the HUD home store pictures. So you're going to right click, you're going to go save image as. This is 26 Glenwood Avenue. We're going to go to FreedomSoft bids. We're going to go to new folder. It's going to be called 26 Glenwood. And we're going to open it. Click new folder, call this one photos. And we're going to double click on that and simply press this. This is the name of that photo. We're simply going to press save. I'm going to go to the next. Now in this case, you can see there are 15 photos. You may or may not need all of them. If there's duplicate ones in here or ones that just seem to be redundant, you do not need those. I'm going to go in here and just save, several of them. I've already created the folder. The hard part's done. All you need to do now is just click over, click advance, and then right click on the picture, save image as. Once this comes up, you simply can just keep clicking save. So it makes the process pretty quick, run pretty fast after you've created the folders. This property looks to be in pretty decent shape. You will find that a lot of homestep deals are in pretty decent shape. It's just the way that they securitize the properties and what they will securitize. A lot of times these properties are in pretty, um, they're not in dilapidated fall down condition. So this person obviously took some care of their home. We're going to go and grab these pictures. Trying to go through this quickly. Gives you a nice idea to, this is nice too because you get a chance to go through and really get a feel for the property and whatnot. You don't need this. I would not, don't pull a picture like this in. Um, okay, so we've got it. Now you're going to go to the next step. You're going to highlight the address and you're going to Control C. You're going to come right back down to your dashboard, go over to Run Comps, and you are going to put the address in, Control V. And then, of course, I like to work backwards from here, Control X, and I like to paste them where they belong. You can take the whole Pennsylvania out. Because you can just come over here and click P for PA, and it'll come right up. And you want to take Eagleville, Control X, and then there we go, Run Comps. So here we go. It came in as a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, 1,538 square feet. We're going to comp it the same way you always comp a property. You're going to sort for relevant bedrooms, bathrooms, and square footage. So 3 and 1.5. Let's see here. 3, 1.5, and 1,500 square feet. Let's take a look. Okay, we got one here, but this one, I'm going to take a look at the street view to see what type of property this is. This is a nice property. I would bet this property is probably done really nice. I'm going to skip this one out for a second only because it seems to be really high compared to, yeah, and it's in Audubon. It's a slightly different neighborhood. Let's just see what some of these other ones look like first. 3, 1.5. Let's see. That's right next to it. I'm going to choose this one. Let's do a street view and see what. These are more along the lines. This is Trooper. Trooper, Eagleville, and Audubon are all around the same area. This is an older house. It's not really new. This is more along the lines of what we're going to be comping it out against. It's a little small though, so it's going to find something with a little bit higher square footage. I'm going to choose. This was a small one too, but um, let's take a look here. Here we got one down here, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 1,400 square feet. Let's see where that one is. That's down here in Norristown. Again, all these neighborhoods are very close. You can see how they're all bunched in next to one another. I'm going to find another one now. Let's see. Let's see if we use, let's see, where's Schuylkill Avenue? That's there. What if we did this one, Evans Road? That's in a circle. I don't want to use this one. Let's see the street view. This is a rancher home. I want to use a different comp. I want it to be a similar type property. Okay, how about this one? Let's see the street view. These are more similar houses. So this is Belmont Avenue, 27. Here we go. Okay, so I'm looking at a value roughly of about 191,600. And again, you cannot, you have to save the property first. You can't just send it directly to a lead. So you're going to save it. And then you're going to edit property details. And then once this opens, you are going to convert it to a lead. You always need to do these steps. It goes from property to leads, and now you can start to status it. Today's date, I always start out with the date. You want to put the neighborhood in here, Eagleville. And then you're going to go through the whole process of inputting this exactly the same way. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these steps again, but what you would do is go through the same steps. You're going to take the number here, the asking price, $234,900. You're going to put that directly into here, $234,900. You're going to choose 80%. That's going to give you a basis to start. 187 would be the offer price, and of course you'd put 10,000 on that. So 197 would be the offer price, 920, and you of course would fill that into your lead details here. Again, you want to make sure you're filling, you're filling in, or excuse me, you'd put that in here, offer price. You'd put the sale price at 197. You can see that the area is missing here where you put the listing price because you need to come in here and select, is it listed? You want to say yes. Now, if you notice, the extra the extra section popped up where we can put the list price. You'd want to put 234,900. You'd want to put the offer price here. You'd want to up it by 10,000 here, and you'd go through this whole thing exactly the same way. You would save the lead, save it a few times, then you're going to go through importing photos. You're going to work your comparables, work your rehab estimator and your deal analyzer, and then you're going to upload all of them to attachments. All right. So that's how you do that. Now, I am not going to save this one per se because I'm going to want you to go through them and start practicing it. I don't need to reiterate how to qualify or comp a property or how to make an offer. You would keep your other tab open with your contact in there so that you can create the email that will allow you to send these offers out once you have determined they are an offer. So now that I've showed you how to work HUD Home Store, which is this one, I've showed you how to use. Um, Here's the HUD Home Store. I've showed you how to use Homesteps, which is this one. And now I'm going to show you how to use Homepath. Homepath is very similar to Homesteps. You're going to come in here. It's homepath.com. I would save this in my internet browser as well. And you're going to come in here and log in. Okay, the information, if it's not pre-filled in here, it's my email address, Gateway Wholesale Homes, and then it's the same password you're using for your own logins, for your FreedomSoft and email. And then you're going to click Login. It's going to say my name up here. It's going to show you that you are into our account. You're going to do searches the same exact way you do it here. If we do Montgomery County, um, sometimes you may have to actually keep spelling it out and put a comma and write PA, and there you go, because it didn't show up in the search on its own. See, there's no Pennsylvania in here. There's a lot of other Montgomery counties, but in different states. So you simply want to finish it out by putting Pennsylvania, PA. Choose it and select search. Now, just the way I showed you on Homesteps, there's a first look program. You can see here that there's also a first look program. You can see it says the word first look right here or right here. See? You do not want these. These are, again, reserved for owner occupants only. So we're going to go down and start looking for ones that do not say first look under the picture, and those are the ones. So you can see here, there's the border is now missing. Now, also I want you to notice underneath of this section here, it has something. It says back on market, price reduced, price reduced. I want to go back. Price reduced. This one says active, active. This one says coming soon, coming soon. You do not want to work on ones unless, or this one says under contract. Anything that says under contract or coming soon, you do not want to work on those. That's not available to us. So Homepath does not organize them as nice as Homesteps does because they only will show us active deals that we can actively bid on. That is not the case with Homepath though. They will put everything in here. So what I need you to do is simply only work on the ones that are active or back on market, or if it says just listed. Again, if it says under contract or coming soon, that's not a good deal. You don't want to look at that. So if it says price reduced or active or something like that, or just listed or back on market, these are all ones that you do want to work on. So let's just go into this first one and show you how this works. Again, very similar. You're simply going to click on it. When you click on it, it brings this up, and you want to. So let me show you again. You would simply click on this. It brings up just the property you want to work on. Come on. It won't bring it up. Let's click on this one and see. Okay, so you'd click on the property, and then you want to hit here, View More. Now, I don't want to do this one because if you'll notice 107 Jefferson Road, we've already qualified this one when we were looking through their website. Let me just see if I can open up this one again. Here we go. So 523 Village Lane in Pottstown, you would simply click View More. When you click view more, and by the way, it shows that 51 results came up. You're always going to be able to see the amount of results. Um, this one would say, you see how it says status here? It says back on market. If this says anything like under contract or not available or coming soon, that would not be a lead. You'd want to skip right over that one. Um, Now here, if you notice, um, there's an MLS number. This MLS number is the one you want to use. You do not want to use the REO ID. Incidentally, I don't know if I pointed this out. I'm going to switch over to the Homesteps site really quick. I want to show you something. I'm just going to click on one of these to open it up really quick. Where it says here property ID, here is the number you're going to be highlighting and putting in your email. Instead of case number or MLS number, they do not have a case number or MLS number with Homesteps. It's just a property ID. So you want to make sure that you are highlighting this in place of everything else. Again, HUD had a case number, Homesteps has a property ID number, and Homepath, which is what we're working on now, has a REO ID and an MLS. You always want to use an MLS number if you can. So here you notice there's a property description. This property description, all of it does not need to be brought into the notes, but here is where you're going to be grabbing the section that you're going to be importing into your notes. For instance, I wouldn't copy all of this. I might just copy a portion of it. Here's a great opportunity to own a townhouse in Saratoga Village, neutral kitchen, basement offers a lot of extra storage. Um, you could stop right about here. So I would just highlight this, Control C, and I would bring that right into the notes section when you're ready for that. But again, you're simply just going to click on the picture. It'll open up another picture viewing box. You're simply going to right click, save image, and you're going to go through the process of creating a file and a folder exactly the same way you did, or I showed you to do in your previous trainings and how I illustrated in the HUD and the Homesteps training. So you would save your photos in there. You're going to X out when you're ready. You're simply going to highlight the address. You're going to do the same exact steps you did before. Start out in the dashboard, go to Run Comps, and you're going to paste it in here, and you're going to go through the same exact identical steps to qualify, comp, and bring it to the point of possibly making an offer. And that's it. What I would want you to do is, as you're going through your day, the whole goal again um, is to get me anywhere from 5 to 10 offers. That's how many you want to be making on a regular basis. These sites there's so many different options that you can have. What I would generally do is try to exhaust one site at a time, for Pennsylvania and then for Jersey. And you want to try all of the different counties that we use that you're familiar with already before you move on to the next site. Um, or it's really up to you. You could say, you know what, I just made 5 offers on the HUD site. Now I'm going to go over to Homesteps and make 5 offers on those. That's really, really up to you. You're in charge of this. You are the lead manager. And your discretion is, I'm going to leave that up to you as far as where you want to source for the leads. You are the one that's going to be heading up this department for this. So with that being said, I'm going to let you manage and run these how you see fit. Just keep in mind, keep with the same strategies as far as where we are marketing, the counties and the states, and the type of properties. And again, you're going to keep the same qualifying criteria exactly the same, as you've learned in your other modules. So, practice makes perfect. Again, a lot of lucrative deals come from these 3 sites. In fact, I've used these exclusively before I started doing instant leads. And here's where most of all of our bread and butter has come from as a company up until now. So I want you to, practice on these. These are really great source for leads. And um, if you have any questions along the way, please email me, please Jing video me. But I am here to help you. Your success is directly tied into my success. I really appreciate all the hard work that you're doing and your willingness to learn this new module. I will speak to you on the next module. Thank you.